These days, Pablo Picasso, Gerhard Richter, Jean-Michel Basquiat, Andy Warhol, and a host of other familiar names dominate at auctions. But it wasn't always so. Before the last couple of decades, the Old Masters category, featuring artists who were active between the 14th and 18th centuries, was all anyone could talk about. Both public auctions and high-profile private museum acquisitions of works by art historical giants like Leonardo da Vinci, Raphael, Rembrandt, and Peter Paul Rubens, among others, have grabbed headlines, with works sometimes selling for hundreds of millions of dollars. Welcome to another episode of Lavish Anthology. Subscribe to our channel to stay up to date with our latest videos. Let's get into today's video. 𝐦𝐨𝐧𝐭 Guardi, Venice, a view of the Rialto Bridge looking north, 1760s, price realized, 26.7 million euros, 43 million. In 2011, a monumental 18th century painting of a view of Venice by Italian painter Francesco Guardi sold to an anonymous bidder for a record price of 26.7 million. 43 million at Sotheby's in London. Painted in the mid-1760s, the canvas was passed down to three generations of the Guinness family, which offered it at auction. It outperformed, selling slightly above its estimate of 25 million. J.M.W. Turner, Modern Rome, Campo Vaccino, 1839. Price realized, 29.7 euros, $44.9 million. In 2010, J.M.W. Turner's Modern Rome, Campo Vaccino, sold for 29.7 million euros at Sotheby's, realizing the second highest price ever achieved for the British artist at an auction. The winning bidder was dealer Hazlitt, Gooden & Fox, who bid for the work on behalf of the Getty Museum in Los Angeles, where the painting now resides permanently. Scott J. Schaefer, the Getty's curator of paintings at the time, told the New York Times that it was the best Turner of all time on the occasion of the purchase, sold from the Rothschild family collection. The work depicts an Italian city and acts as a showcase for Turner's technical prowess. The painting had appeared on the market only once before Sotheby's sale in the 170 years since it was completed. J.M.W. Turner, Rome, from Mount Aventine, 1836. Price realized, 30.3 million euros, $47.6 million. In December 2014, British artist J.M.W. Turner's Rome from Mount Aventine set a record for the artist when it sold for 30.3 million euros, $47.6 million at Sotheby's London. Originally painted for the artist's friend, publisher John Pye, the work realized a price that made Turner the most expensive pre-20th century artist of all time. Raphael, head of a young apostle, circa 1519 to 1521. Price realized, 29.7 million euros, $47.8 million US. In December 2012 at Sotheby's London sales room, a 16th century drawing by Renaissance titan Raphael sold for 47.8 million US after a 17-minute battle between four bidders. The dramatic sale set an auction record for the artist, doubling its pre-sale estimate. Sold for the prominent Devonshire collections at Chatsworth House in Bakewell, England, where the work resided since the early 18th century. The work drew a result that was 3 times its pre-sale low estimate of 10 million. It was completed as a study for the artist's last painting, the biblical scene in the Transfiguration, which is held by the Vatican Museum. Raphael, head of a muse, circa 1510. Price realized, 29.1 million euros, 48 million US. In the early 16th century, Raphael was commissioned by the court of Pope Julius II to paint frescoes for the Stanza della Signatura, the papal library and private office. Head of a Muse was completed as a preliminary draft during Raphael's preparation for one of the biggest achievements of the Renaissance, the Parnassus, a fresco for the Vatican depicting the mythical story of Mount Parnassus, where the god Apollo lived with the 9 muses. Its first recorded owner was Dutch collector Gasuinius Oldenbuck in 1725. Later, passing through the hands of Sir Thomas Lawrence, an artist and prominent Old Master Drawings collection, and then to King William II of Holland. The work, the last drawing related to Raphael's Vatican commission that was still privately owned, first came to market in 2009 at Christie's, where two bidders sparred over it. Eventually, it hammered at 29 million euros, going to an anonymous phone bidder for almost double its estimate of 16 million. Peter Paul Rubens, Lot and His Daughters, circa 1613-1614, price realized 44.9 million euros, $58.2 million. In 2016, Peter Paul Rubens' Lot and His Daughters, a biblical scene representing the seduction of Lot by his daughters during the family's exile, sold at Christie's in London for a price of 44.9 million. The work, which had been in a private collection for more than a century, had previously been part of collections of high-profile figures, such as the Holy Roman Emperor Joseph I and John Churchill, the first Duke of Marlborough. Purchased by a charitable foundation during Christie's summer sale, the Rubens masterpiece is displayed on long-term loan at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. Peter Paul Rubens, Massacre of the Innocents, 1611-1612, price realized 49.5 million euros, $76.5 million. In July 2002, Rubens rediscovered painting Massacre of the Innocents, which depicts the biblical scene of a violent massacre in Bethlehem. It fetched a price of 49.5 million euros, $76.5 million at Sotheby's, previously attributed to the Flemish painter Jan van Dyck Hoek, and estimated at 4 million to 6 million. The work soared past its estimate at the house's London's venue, hammering at a price of 45 million, and going to Canadian businessman and art collector Kenneth Thompson. He subsequently donated it to Toronto's Art Gallery of Ontario, where it was one of the star works in a 2019 survey of Rubens' early work that also traveled to the Legion of Honor in San Francisco. Leonardo da Vinci, Salvator Mundi, circa 1500. Price realized 450.3 million. Arguably, the most widely publicized art sale in history was the auction of Leonardo da Vinci's Salvator Mundi, which raked in more than 450 million at Christie's, New York in 2016 during a post-war and contemporary art event. After a drawn-out 19-minute-long bidding war, Salvator Mundi became the most expensive artwork ever sold at auction, sold from a private European collection. The winning buyer was later revealed to be Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. The work depicts Christ signaling the cross with his right hand and holding a translucent orb in his left. Long believed to be a copy of a lost Leonardo work, the painting was reattributed to the Renaissance master following its restoration in 2006. Prior to the sale, the painting went on display in 2011 at the National Gallery in London. Despite all the attention paid to the work, many historians have cast doubt on whether Leonardo really painted Salvator Mundi, and it did not appear in the Louvre's 2019 Leonardo retrospective. And with that, we've reached the end of this video. If you enjoyed this video and found it interesting, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.